Pop Squat, coming at ya. Got another track sent in from Twizzy Broke. Love that name. This is Joeyy, and the track is Gout. Came out in December of 2022. I'm not sure if I remember people talking about a new Joeyy album coming out in 2022. Oh, but I see this is not actually on an album, so this must have just been an errant song that was released. Again, it's called Gout, which is a painful condition caused by too much like uric acid in your blood, and it settles into your in your body, and it settles into your foot and can cause like really bad blood clots in your foot. It's very dangerous and apparently very, 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 very painful, and probably something I have to look forward to in my later years. These are not my later years. 53 are not my later years. This was, let's see, produced by Envy Other, Theo, Fake Kickin', and Cole. Some good names there. Envy Other and Fake Kickin'. Great names. Came out in December of 2022. It is rap and Spotify singles, so this must have come out on Spotify. And let's check this out. I've got lyrics over here. This is a music video, also by Joeyy. Well, duh. Not sure who else it would be by. I guess there are people like Bateki and things like that who make videos or visualizers and things like that. 2 minutes and 1 second long. Thank you once again to Twizzy Broke for sending this in. Let's check out Gout from Joeyy. Okay, I love that. It sounds like in a movie, like either somebody like quickly passing through time and like little snippets of time, like going up in an elevator or something like that. Like it's just like doo, 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 doo. And it makes me think of something like that. It's really a cool sound. It's a very, very cool effect. I love the feeling it gives me.
Shadow Wizard Buddy Gang. We love casting spells. This song is sponsored by the Shadow Government.
Nuke. Nuke Radio.
I'm loving this.
Warning, nuking is now legal worldwide.
I walk into Balenci, make them wipe me down. Oil filter on the Glock, you won't hear a sound. I walk into Balenci, make them wipe me down. Oil filter on the Glock, you won't hear a sound. I walk into Balenci, make them wipe me down. Oil filter on the Glock, you won't hear a sound. You keep your heavyweight, we can go pound for pound. I'm in Harrods out in London, spend pound after pound. If I need a drink, then my man, he gon' ask around. These are my jealous sneakers, I'm not wearing drown. Recite a prayer, cause the devil's trying to bring me down. Italian leather sneakers, I could've just bought a cow.
Holy shit!
Wondering how Balenciaga defenders look like I got the gout. I'm sipping cup after cup till my stomach's poking out. I need my pockets, I'm retarded, you can keep the clout.
God damn, this is so cool. This is really, really interesting. That the skipping of the lyrics is what I find really interesting for one thing, and then he's got like this really spooky cinematic sound, like very impressive, very thank you Kitten for stopping by. Very impressive, not intimidating. I mean, it is kind of intimidating, but boy, I'm having trouble finding words here. It sounds very cinematic to me. It sounds like it'd be part of a movie, and it would be just a cool sound, and they're doing a great job with the video too, because it looks so cool. The lyrics themselves are, meh, yeah, I'm really cool, I'm going into these expensive shops to buy expensive sneakers and clothes, and it does nothing for me personally, but the sound of it is just absolutely amazing, and the skipping of the lyrics is so cool to me, because what it feels to me is they heard old stuff from Skrillex or whoever, old electro, where they would skip the music or funk around with it a little bit to make it disruptive. And instead of doing that with the music only, he's doing it with the actual lyrics and the music kind of at the same time, and it's such a cool sound. I'm totally downloading this. It's a fantastic track.
That was trying to bring me down. Italian leather sneakers, I could have just bought a cow.
Holy shit!
You wondering how? Balenciaga.
And then all these weird things jumping in, like, holy shit, and then this woman, yeah, and, you know, what else somebody else said. Early on, they were yelling things like, nuke radio, warning, nuking is now legal worldwide. Like, these things that almost make it seem like other realities are encroaching in on this particular bit of song reality. And it's just amazing. I think it's an absolutely cool effect.
Defenders look like I got the gout. I'm sipping cup after cup till my stomach's poking out. I need my pockets, I'm retarded, you can keep the clout. If I spend my whole bankroll, I'll affect the Dow. I'm in the car with many drugs, trying to duck the south. I'll repent for every sin before my luck runs out. I got one of every pill inside a little pouch.
DJ Smokey. Nukes are now legal.
I absolutely love that. So apparently I have to check out some Marlon Dubois too,
Nuke Radio.
because that also looks super, super cool. I have to back up. I didn't mean to go click on that.
Shadow Wizard Money Gang. We love casting spells.
Oh, I'm gonna listen to this song a lot. Holy crap, is that a cool track? I don't know what else to say. That is just an absolutely cool melange of sound. Love it. Definitely going on my favorites list. That is so cool. That is so cool. I don't have anything else to say. Actually, that's not true. Do I want to do this here? Sure. I'm going to totally go away from this music. If you don't want to listen to the rest of this, that's fine. I'm going to talk about why we stop listening to new music as we get older. Isn't that interesting? This is on, I don't even know what the hell this is, something news. And this is an article from Timothy McHenry from February 25th of 2023. And it's, I'm going to read through a little bit of this because it's about appreciating music, even as you age, even as your brain tells you to stop listening to new music. So according to an estimate, I'm just going to read through some of this. So if you want to leave, I'm done. The Joeyy song Gout was amazing and awesome and fantastic, and you should go listen to it. You don't need to listen to the rest of this. I just want to read through all this, or a bunch of it. According to an estimate from the International Federation of the Phonographic Industry, an organization that represents the international music industry, people around the world spend an average of 20.1 hours per week listening to music, up from 18.4 hours in 2021. We have more ways to access music than at any time in human history, and a whole world of unfamiliar styles to explore. The thrill of discovering new songs and new sounds can enrich people of all ages, except most of the time it doesn't. Our willingness to explore new and unfamiliar music declines with age. Multiple studies confirm the sentiments of U.S. songwriter and musician Bob Seger. Just give me some of that old-time rock and roll. Academics use the term open-earedness to describe our willingness to explore new music. Across our lives, this willingness waxes and wanes. Until around age 11, children are generally happy to engage with unfamiliar music. Early adolescence sees a reduction in open-earedness, but it is accompanied by an intense increase in interest in music more generally. Open-earedness increases slightly during young adulthood, then declines as we age. A major 2013 study involving more than 250,000 participants confirmed these changing behaviors. It also showed that the significance we ascribe to music after adolescence declines, and the amount of music we listen to reduces from a high point of 20% of our waking time during adolescence to 13% in adulthood, or per space cent. So this must be a British news site. Researchers have different but generally complementary theories to account for these population-level trends. Some interpret the observed decline in music engagement in terms of psychosocial maturation. Adolescents use music as an identity marker and engage with it to navigate social circles. Adults have developed personalities and established social groups. As such, drivers to engage with new music are lessened. So we know what we like. We don't need to go out and find more stuff. We have found our stuff. It doesn't define us anymore. It's part of who we are. But we don't go out of our way to figure out, like, oh, do I like this new thing? Do I want to incorporate this into myself? Which I think is a weird thing. Why shut yourself off like that? These same researchers point to age-related changes to hearing acuity, specifically a lowering tolerance for loud and high-frequency sounds, as one cause for reduced interest in new music for some people. One explanation for the age-based reduction in music consumption simply posits that responsibility-laden adults may have less discretionary time to explore their musical interests than younger people. That one I absolutely agree with. People no longer have the time to listen to their own music. They have to entertain their kids. Some scholars question whether there is a straightforward link between the decline in the rate of new music consumption and increasing music intolerance. Others argue against using chronological age as a predictor for stagnant musical taste without first considering the different ways we process and use music across our lifespan. Teenagers tend to be very aware of what they are listening to. Adults who use music as motivation or accomplishment for activities such as exercise or menial tasks may be less conscious of the extent to which they actually do listen to new music. There is a consensus that people are highly likely to have their taste shaped by the music they first encounter in adolescence. So I thought that was super interesting and absolutely makes sense. It's like learning a language, right? You're first exposed to music. The first thing you're exposed to is the Beatles. You're probably going to like the Beatles, and you're probably going to like music like the Beatles. And I mean, it goes from there. Just think about what that implies across the course of your life, right? Adolescence shapes musical tastes, firstly because our brains are developed to the point where we can fully process what we're hearing, and secondly because the heightened emotions of puberty create strong and lasting bonds of memory. That's actually pretty interesting. Neuroscience provides some fascinating insights into how and why our musical tastes develop. We know, for example, infants display an affinity to music heard in utero. Also, musical taste boils down to familiarity. In his book, This Is Your Brain on Music, neuroscientist David Levitin writes, ding, 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 ding. Sorry about that. When we love a piece of music, it reminds us of other music we have heard, and it activates memory traces of emotional times in our lives. So, as with most things, we attach memories and feelings to other things because everything in our brain connects to everything else, even if it's a distant connection, right? So when you hear a song by, well, there's a picture here that shows the Yardbirds, and the Yardbirds played at your wedding, you think of the Yardbirds and go, oh, that was at my wedding, I loved it, it was so nice. And then it connects you to all the people who you might have significant memories of at your wedding, the nice things that happened there, the gifts you got. Like, there's all sorts of connections. And I'm saying a wedding, you may be too young to be getting married, but think of it, you know, something, a dance at school or a party at a friend's house, and some music played and something significant. You got drunk for the first time, you kissed somebody for the first, you had sex the first time, there's all these things that get connected in your head. I'm going to keep reading. What we think of as our taste is simply a dopamine reaction arising from patterns our brain recognizes, which create the expectation of pleasure based on pleasures past. When we stop actively listening to new or unfamiliar music, the link between the musical pattern and the pleasure is severed. It may take a decade or two to get there, but the result is eventually young people's music will alienate and bring no pleasure. So we are doomed to musical adolescence, are we doomed to musical obsolescence as we age? Far from it. Recent research suggests musical taste does not need to calcify, but can continue to develop across our lives. That you don't even have to research that. That's just, I mean, you should research it, but it seems like a thing that's very obvious. Here are some tips if you want to train your musical taste to extend beyond the old favorites of youth. Cultivate different modes of listening. This is number one. Cultivate different modes of listening, including informal, concerts, focused, solitary, casual, as an accompaniment to another activity or social settings. 2. Make listening habitual. 3. Be curious about what you're listening to. You can help your brain form new patterns by knowing something of the story behind the music, which is honestly which is honestly why I like to look up information about the artists as I play music, because I want to know who they are, because their music is what gives, or their personality, their background, their history is what gives their music meaning. And you can't really know an art or an artist without knowing who they are, right? Or what the artist creates without knowing who they are. Number 4, be patient and persistent. Don't assume because you don't immediately like an unfamiliar piece that it's not worth listening to. Oh, that applies to a lot of music on my channel. The more you listen, the better your brain will be at triggering a pleasure response. 5, find a friend to give you recommendations. There's a good chance you'll listen to music suggested to you by someone you like and admire. That's true of anything. It's not just for music. If somebody recommends a book to you, if somebody recommends a restaurant to you, if somebody recommends shoes, clothing, a car, you are more likely, I mean, it's word of mouth, right? That's exactly what that is. Number 6, keep listening to the music you love, but be willing to revisit long-held beliefs, particularly if you describe your musical tastes in the negative, such as, I hate jazz. It's likely these attitudes will stifle your joy. I certainly experienced that. I am not a big jazz fan, but there are parts of jazz, there are types of jazz that I absolutely love that nothing else can replicate. And there's only one music that I say I don't really like, and it's just because, and that's modern country music that's gotten very boring and samey. But I love other country music. I love the old country music. I love hip-hop takes on country music, or country takes on hip-hop. That sort of thing I don't mind at all. One of my favorite pair of guitarists, Speedy West and Jimmy Bryant, oh my god, I absolutely love those guys. And it's very country, very folksy. Anyway, so yeah, just be very careful about saying you don't like a certain type of thing, because you might surprise yourself. There's probably something out there that's very good. That's number 7. Don't feel you have to keep up with new music trends. We have 1,000 years of music to explore. We have thousands and thousands of years of music to explore. If after making the effort you still find new popular music hard to bear, take solace in the fact take solace from songwriter Ben Folds, who said in his memoir, "Good pop music, truly of its moment, should throw older adults off its scent. It should clear the room of boring adults and give the kids some space." I think that's probably true. But it should also be listened to by adults to give them a clue as to what the hell the kids are talking about and what is going on in their world. And I think we miss out on that. Anyway, I wanted to read through this. I wanted to share it with you guys. I hadn't read this ahead of time. I had read a couple of paragraphs of it, and that was it. And it's just really interesting because I am constantly surprised by how many people leave comments about this old head listening to modern music, current day music from 2023 that's popular with teenagers and 20-year-olds. And this feels perfectly natural to me, to listen to this music and to engage with it and want to know more about it and to want to incorporate it into my personality and the stuff that I love. I posted a list of 10, 12 songs the other day that were a particularly good random listening tracks that came up on my iPhone. And that's what I listen to now, is that type of music, and it's fantastic. And yeah, I listen to other stuff as well, but it is not the music that you would think a 53-year-old guy from Burlington, Wisconsin would listen to. So if you want to cultivate an ear towards music, just never stop listening. Constantly find new music to listen to, because it's a blast. I love it. It definitely fires my dopamine centers, is finding cool stuff and finding great new music, and it's fun. So I hope this was interesting. I just thought it was a really good little article and wanted to share it, and maybe some of you will have stuck around to listen to this. That's it for now, Pop Squat. Check it out. Please like, subscribe, and share. I'll be back with one more track. Bye-bye.